ways and ways we can get our minds to quiet. And I think it's just fun to share them, because somebody might say, I've never tried that. Shari, do you wanna?
Okay.
Oh dear, I hate when I do that.
Well, I've done, walking meditation and these other ones, but right now, I'm hot on Richard Rohr's meditation.
Oh.
Father Richard Rohr's, and
Talk about
R-O-H-R?
R-O-H-R, yeah.
Explain a little bit about who
He is a monk. No, he's not a monk. He's a father.
He's a priest.
He's a priest, yeah. But he does these incredible classes. He's in New Mexico. But the one I'm practicing now is the one that he does, and I absolutely love it. He starts with, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still. I can't remember it now. I'm in meditation. It's like, be still and know that I am God. And then be still and know that I am. Be still and know. Be.
Yeah.
And so, you just sink in each time you say it. And I'm seeing how, I'm back thinking, and so I go be still. So that's what I'm doing now. That's my practice now. And Marcy, I use her music to into my meditation.
How about you, Nelson? Do you meditate?
Yeah.
Do you have a trick that you use?
Well, one of the things that I learned this many years ago was a gift. And the teacher that I was seeing, it was an Infinite Way teacher. And she said,
Goldsmith.
find what has always been there. Look within. Keep looking and see what's always been there all the time. And stay with that.
Wow.
And that's carried me through.
Man, that's interesting. And I would guess that for a lot of us, maybe like you, Shari, your meditation style might change over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can actually speak to that directly, because I remember there's a period of time, when I figured out that meditation wasn't just sitting and going, woo-woo.
Yeah.
And that, as we discussed earlier, it's whatever you do that you are so focused that no other thought intrudes. And for me, that was dancing. For a long time, my meditation was dancing, because I would just get so involved in the music and allowing my body to feel the different beats, the different percussion. Just the range is amazing, from high intensity to just a slow motion. But I absolutely knew that I could focus on that. Right? Can I share the other thing that I was going to? And it goes back to this thing about, what meditation really is. As I just described, I discovered for me my most favorite is dancing. But what it all comes down to is, as I said, doing something that you are so focused on that no other thought can intrude. Because we're trying to train the brain and tell it what to do, instead of all of that chatter. So really, meditation isn't, I'm going to go commune with God or some higher power. I'm communing with myself and telling this to shut up.
Yeah.
Telling it to shut up, and having that practice of controlling what thoughts enter your mind, so that in your everyday experience, when something happens to you, you get that split second to take a deep breath and quiet your mind and choose how you're going to respond to your situation, not react through past pain or through past experiences. So that's what meditation is really teaching us to do. It's to shut this up and have control over it. Because right now, for too many people, the brain is just running amok. And so, therefore, you're creating, as I said, an opportunity to have control over this, but also it helps you rewrite that. So just like as a computer, it has default settings. It's going to do the same thing over and over again until you change that default setting. That's what meditation allows you to do. Rewrite that. Change the default setting of where you go when things happen in your life. And today, because, I don't want to fall down and hit my head because of balance issues, I don't dance anymore, but I have actually really leaned into Emma Curtis Hopkins and her approach to meditation, which is this: life is a constant prayer. I'm praying when I do the dishes. What does that mean? That means I'm so focused on doing the dishes that no other thought intrudes. When I'm, dusting my house, I'm focused on dusting my house. I'm bringing that meditative aspect, that prayer aspect, to everything I do. So I don't sit down and go, I am meditating. My life is a constant prayer. All of my activities are an active meditation. That's how I do my meditation.
How about you, Alicia? How do you meditate?
I guess, well, to that, yeah, I do a meditation in the morning. It's just a guided meditation on YouTube, so that's how I try to start my day. I don't know, there's tons of those little guided meditations on there. It's about 10 minutes, but yeah, I've kind of I used to be somebody who hits the snooze until like the absolute last second before you have to like jump out of bed and go to whatever you do, but I've tried to be a little bit more mindful, so I have a dream journal, so I do that first thing, and then I do this meditation for about 10 minutes, and then go off to whatever I need to do for the day. But I think to your point, Celeste, I actually hadn't really thought about it, but because I do have a difficult time, I think everybody does, sitting down and just like really turning off their brain. And I had heard, it's not so much like a processing mechanism, it's really kind of a transmitter and receiver is like, I think the best way to think about it. So like being able in a state of like quiet so that you can receive the messages that are for you. But in terms of, I too find that I try to think of everything that I do as kind of like a walk, like a constant meditation. So I look at it like I'm the narrator, and I guess I've come to this in terms of like watching a lot of film. I really like, since COVID especially, watched a lot more movies, and so if I'm the narrator and how I'm responding to something, I'm seeing something, and then I hear a dog bark down the street, and I'm like, oh, that's just interesting that thought and that something else arose there. Or I was thinking about something and I heard somebody slam a door, or certain things like that. I think as you kind of observe your own reality, as you're just the narrator of your own reality. I don't know, it's kind of funny how some of that stuff lines up. And I'm starting to see that I think that that's more how the universe works, kind of making those connections. So.
Thank you. Go ahead. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Oh, so I'm a newbie here. I have really enjoyed John Randolph Price's work. And there was a brief prayer that I'd keep going back to until I finally memorized it. And for me, I need to do worship for a few minutes before I can get into meditation. I have to repeat a prayer until I feel, and then I don't have to control my own thoughts. But the prayer I use is, there is a presence and a power within me now. It is all-knowing, all-loving, all-caring, all-powerful. It is the completeness of the universe, individualized as me now. It is who I am. It is what I am. It is God as me now. And sometimes I have to repeat it 3 or 4 times. And then there's a point where I'm in a sacred space.
Nice. You
It
do
took a
that,
while to memorize it,
Do you
though.
do that? Do you do that every day?
Most days. Mhm. And if I can hold off before I run out and get the morning newspaper, it works a lot better. By the time I get to the second page of the Star Trib, I'm just going, worked up, so. So it's best if I start this early in the morning, before the phone starts ringing and before.
You know, I do mine a little different. I do get the paper, I do sit down with my cup of coffee, and about a third through the paper, I wake up. But I always end up with the cartoons. And so by the time I'm done with it, I'm not,
Especially Doonesbury
there you go.
recently.
Yeah, I have my special ones that I read. But that's when, by that time, I'm a little bit more awake and I'm a little bit more able to go into my prayer work. And so that's what I do. I love that time of the morning. It's my favorite. I never used to be a morning person because I'd get up and, you know, get the shower and get to work, and that wasn't that much fun. But this being at home, having the coffee and reading and stuff, I like that. That's a good thing.
And I'm convinced that Gary Trudeau is a spiritual person in his own right. And recently, I think some of his work has been, and he's recycled this over decades.
Yes, right, yeah.
But it's a passing of this remarkable older woman, and he puts a little twist on it. But it's very sweet.
Right, right.
It's very wise, insightful, gentle.
Right now, we're at her funeral, right?
Right.
We that read cartoons are in a whole new world. It's a very special world. Thank you, Lucille, for being here. We hope you join us again. I hope you have my telephone number on something. Feel free to call me. I'm happy to discuss whatever you want to talk about. So, be it an old woman's funeral or what. How about you, Tani? What kind of meditation do you do, if you do? I think you do.
I have a buffet of meditation styles
All right.
that I like to choose from on a daily basis. So I've played with a bunch. I did a 10-day Vipassana retreat. Vipassana is like an old, like if I'm really having a hard, like Vipassana is something I could, that runs stuck, I can really kind of, and it's basically like a body scanning is really what it is. Fancy and I meditate together a lot.
Oh, wow.
And it's really kind of nice because he's more disciplined about it. Like I'll get up and start doing stuff, and then he'll make his juice, and then I'll say, "Are you getting ready to meditate?" And then if he's getting ready to meditate, then I go, "Okay, I'll for sure get my meditation in."
That's great.
Because
That's great.
so I like to meditate with him, and we'll do a different thing. We'll sometimes do a different thing every day. I have a group that I meditate with on Thursday nights, and they do
wow.
Joe Dispenza.
Oh,
So it's just a Zoom link. So I've gotten into Joe a little bit. He does it's a different kind of a thing.
That's my thought, Fancy.
It doesn't work with him.
Oh, my God.
And listen, it depends on if you've caught him in his earlier work or what he's doing now. Like so I have one of my best friends is super into him and goes to all his seminars and all of that. So,
I like his books, but boy, when I tried to listen to his meditations, I'm like, oh my
he joined us one Thursday, and it wasn't. It didn't.
Close your eyes and relax.
Well, what I found.
He's like, can you turn it down?
What I found off-putting was he talked
I know.
like.
He does a robot.
There is space between the space.
So that's some of the older
Give me
stuff.
a break, I got so many thoughts going.
He's not.
In between the space, I'm thinking.
But other than that,
He's
I
not
like
doing
Joe.
the space in between the space anymore.
Oh, good.
Just so you know, like he continues to evolve it. So like it depends on just
You mean he's evolving?
yes, and his work has kind of come full circle a little bit. I don't know. Sometimes meditation for me is just about getting to the no thought. Sometimes it's actually about just scanning my body, and then that works sometimes. But I can get into a visualization of what I would like things to look like too.
Oh, okay.
Like, what if it could be, and so I use meditation sometimes to get to a picture of what I would like it to be and
Oh,
to look
nice.
like and how I would like it to feel. So sometimes I start with the just trying to stop thought and get to the, just get to the no thought place, and then I'll kind of end in a visualization. It depends on the day. Like I said, it's a buffet for me.
Great, well, thank you, Tanya,
Yeah.
appreciate that. How about you, Fancy Ray?
First, I'm a daily meditator for sure. In fact, the thing that Lucille shared, the thing you said before you meditate I thought that was powerful. When you got through saying that, I wish I had a football because I would have spiked it. Wow.
I can loan you the book and the page.
I do various forms of meditation, and I have over the years. I started meditating, we discussed this in high school, and now I've gone to the point where I daily meditate for sure. And I've done guided meditations, I've done music meditations, I've done walking meditations. I have a meditation I invented where I take a bunch of breath and I hyperventilate and I just float in the water.
Oh, when we go swimming.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's a floating meditation that connects me with the universe and the earth and everything. I do Michael Beckwith online, I do Buddhist meditations. But what I have found here lately that is really, really wonderful is the true gift of going into the silence. We walk around, we move, we do all this stuff in our lives that you just sit down, what that does to you. Also, there's emotion and there's thought. So I try to go inside the circle. There's a circle where there's just being. And I go to that place of being, and in that place of being, I go to that place. And in silence, I find an incredible connection with myself, with spirit, with universe, with the planet. And it's just, I do it for 20 minutes a day, and that is the most powerful. I got into transcendental meditation, I took that class, and that was fantastic. So there's all types of different things. Sometimes, some meditations, we're going through this great experience, like how was your meditation? It was this great, and sometimes we could go to this guided meditation, which can be powerful. But the question that I always ask, how does it affect your day? Because it's great to have this great experience, and that's because we can do a self-hypnosis thing with all of us right now and take you on a journey that will blow your mind and have an experience. But again, when you go into meditation, that you get to that silence and controlling your thinking, your thoughts, and that you can get down to that place where you're just being. And of course, yes, thoughts come and go. And sometimes you have a conversation with thoughts and realize, sometimes I go to this place here, and sometimes I'm an overseer. And I'm just observing.
Oh, right on, I like
And
that.
I'm just overseeing. And then that thought comes, and I just let it go, or this memory comes, right? But I go back to this place of being, and then, and just find that peace. And how powerful that is. And before we meditate, we always do a reading, a small, like a daily thing. We'll do a Reverend Ike reading, that's about a chapter, always, and then we go into the meditation. Then we come out of the meditation, we'll do a prayer.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice, what a lovely, lovely thing to do
Yeah.
as a couple.
Yeah.
How'd you,
Played
Kevin?
with some chanting.
All right.
Yeah.
That was working for a minute,
All right.
Yeah.
then it stopped working.
How about you, Kevin?
Well, one thing everybody's talking about is being quiet, and I've heard that there's two different parts of our nervous system: the sympathetic, which is the flight or fight, and the hyper. This is the one I can't quite remember the name.
Parasympathetic.
Parasympathetic.
It starts with a P,
Yes.
which
okay.
means peace, so that's how you can remember it.
So, the parasympathetic, and so the trick is to move into the parasympathetic, because what I discovered when I was doing massage therapy, and the whole purpose of that, in the parasympathetic zone, is where you experience your spiritual self. You turn that off, and it's like, so that's what we're all talking about is tricks.
Yeah,
Tricks,
right.
tricks to bring your mind into calmness, and your body is so important.
Yep.
So like, when I meditate, and I got it from yoga training, but they have like 6 steps. One is focusing on the breath. Just 3 simple focuses on your breath, and the energy changes around you. Then you kind of do body awareness. You go through from head to toe, you go through or go through your feet, start from your feet. What am I feeling as my feet touch the ground? Different parts of my body. Do I have tension here? Oh, you just observe it. Then you come down, you relax. Total relaxation. You see how you're moving into the parasympathetic. And then you can do other breath work. And in there they have a way of meditating. You go to the chakras up and down. And then you focus here on your nose. And feel the breath coming in and out of your nose here. And you'll notice when you breathe in, it's cool. When you breathe out, it's warmer. And you just pay attention to that. Then you feel the breath coming up to your third eye. And you're kind of like removing your awareness from your body this way. And then another thing I like to do is open my heart. And then get into that.
Okay, he just did my meditation. Do you still want me to do it again?
Ah!
Well, you can lead us in there though. Then, it's repetition this way. But it's like, then open my heart and go into that space of what we really are. I've been watching all these videos on near-death experiences, and they all come back and say, basically, we are that love. We are that love, and that's what we're here for, is to connect with that love, and try to reside in that.
All right.
I love that you mentioned about the body and the yogis, because they were doing, back in the day, the purpose of the yoga was to connect with the body so that they actually could meditate. They were like training their body so that the whole purpose was so they could have more effective meditation.
That's what they
So they
developed
could
it
sit.
for.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
people in their yoga classes, they still do where they're laying, shavasana, where they're laying on their body, but then try sitting up and meditating after that.
Yeah.
Because your body's in the zone. And that's something we forget about in the States, because now we're into core power and yoga
It's all a
6 and stuff.
fitness
Yeah.
exercise thing.
But, yeah. And it's great for that.
Yeah.
But
Great.
there's so much more to it than just.
Boy, I'm impressed.
Me too.
I'm just gonna say something right here. I am the least of these, my brethren, okay?
No, I am the least of these.
Want to share?
Yeah, I don't formally think about meditation, I guess, the way you've all been describing it. I came to believe in this power greater than myself through the 12-step program. I was 20 years old when I started that, and I was told there was no way in hell you're going to live, let alone survive. And I think maybe the first 10 years of that was just pure will and obstinance. I was not going to let them win. And so I survived that. And then I learned through Julie and some of the things that she was really into about this silent prayer, about being part of it and then letting go. And that true measure of letting go was that quiet time that you find. So you'll find me pretty much every morning reading one of 4 or 5 different spiritual readings that I read every day, and then taking time just to be really quiet and listen. And we lived in the mountains in Colorado, and what I loved about that is my element is outdoors. I love nature. And I would love to watch animals, so I track the elk, and I track the deer, and I track the pheasants, and the bighorn sheep, and all this stuff. And so we were up in the mountains, and that's what I did. But I often would just find myself watching them, just in that silence, And I was able to let go of the things that were bothering me, the things that stressed me out. Because it's a dangerous place for me to be. That's between my ears. And I should never go there alone. I have to take somebody with me. And that somebody I have to find, and that is my spiritual being, my spiritual inner being. And that is the God of my understanding. So I practice that every morning, and it's not a very formal, I guess, spiritual meditation, but that's how I get through the day.
Spiritual.
And I love it in the sense that I can find myself being grounded. And, you know, there's been a lot of things that happen in our lives, and I've often learned that what I believe was the worst thing to happen to me ended up being probably one of the better
Yeah.
things to ever happen to me. And it started, like I said, I was 20 years old when that started to happen. And I must have been late 20s by the time I realized that it was for a purpose. Then came the difficult part because, see, there was still some traffic upstairs.
Yeah.
They couldn't, yeah, the committee, the traffic, the concert that never ended, you know. Yeah, I used to go to a lot of Grateful Dead stuff, and I used to do things there, so who knows how I really could have turned out. But the thing now that I find is that I've got to take the time for myself. And this year is the first time, I think, in my life where I've discovered that I can actually take that time. So we're working on our health, our physical health, because it's not really my body, it's the vessel that I'm here to use, and I gotta take care of it. You know, since June of last year to now, I've lost a little over 70 pounds in my
That's
Wow.
amazing.
I have donated a kidney to my brother a long time ago, and I was about to kill off the one that I have left, and that is now healing, and that's coming back to life. So it's this process of accepting where you are, and it's this process of just finding that inner peace within and getting out of the way, I guess, and letting God work. And the God of your understanding, whatever that is. And we got to go back to that several times a day. It's not just something that you do in the morning. You know, after I have an encounter with my brothers, I've got to go meditate. Sometimes after I drive from Brooklyn Park back to Edina, I've got to meditate.
Yeah.
Other times it's just finding stress in life can come on, and I have to acknowledge that I can feel it. And I got to learn to let go. So it's a daily process. It's an hourly process for me, and it has to be like that. And I'm really grateful that I found the program that I found, the 12-step program, because I can reflect back on the path I was on when I got out of high school, and I can reflect on a lot of events in my life and how I could have made other choices that probably would have been not so good. And I get to be this vessel, and I often find myself just saying, all right, what is your will for me today? And I'm going to get out of the way, and whatever's presented to me, I have a choice on how I will react to that, and I have to decide how that reaction is going to be. And sometimes I got to take that step back before I react, and I've got to let it wash over me, and I've got to decide how the response is going to be. Sometimes it's pretty good, sometimes it's not a good response, but I'm not claiming perfection. I am just here. So
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for sharing. How about you, Julie?
Mine is, I feel like, and I'm sure everybody pretty much feels similar, it's like you kind of have this way of going, I'm a little inadequate at it, you know?
I don't know if it's working.
Yeah.
I don't know
And
if I'm
so-
doing it right.
Yeah, you know, just sort of this feeling of, okay, here we go. Okay, what's gonna happen? Okay, shut up. You know, so I struggle with the constantly moving mind that just won't stop. But I had a great mentor a long time ago ministers say to me, you know, sometimes the best prayers, and I usually start out with a prayer, I guess that's what I do first. I'll do the regular, you know, Lord's Prayer. I just do that, Our Father, you know, who art in heaven. And I go through that, and then, okay, not feeling it, but it's like, I know it's there. I gotta go there, you know? I know it's there. And then I think of my mentor, and she'd say, sometimes you do the best you can, okay? It's not gonna be, and other times it really connects and I can do it. I have a fear to go to sleep at night. I have a hard time sleeping. So a lot of times when I go to sleep, it's like, okay, what's gonna happen tonight? All right, come on, you can do it. And I put an agenda to sleeping, whereas most people kind of relax and just float into it, and yeah, not me, you know? And so, so it makes it harder, but at the same time, you know, life is about letting go. I mean, if that's all I ever got, I told myself in the AA program, of turning my life over to the care of God as I understand Him and letting go, you know what? I did a lot. Because that is the true nature of our spirit, you know, of my getting out of my way. So I bought, what are they called, like the great books at home? Okay, it's sitting there, and I really want to do it on meditation. And so I listened to Tara Brach. I don't know if you
Yeah,
guys
Oh,
know
yeah,
her.
I've heard of her.
Oh, she's wonderful. I mean, I have to take notes. There's so many things she's saying. It's just like, lady, wow, you're amazing. I do a lot of like Calm, thereabouts, some of those meditations. Listen to that a lot. And you know, it's just the best I can. Like Pete said, we're kind of new because, I mean, 4 years, get up, go to work, do our thing. But he's always been better a little bit at first thing in the morning. And I'm like, what are you doing? You know, I'm running around scrambling, and he's taking time out. He does a little better than I do, and to quiet myself is tough. So that's my goal.
Yeah, all right, well, thank you for that. Dee, did you want to add something?
I can't add anything, everything's
All
been
right,
said.
I hear you. Well,
Yeah.
I think we all certainly had something that we could pick up along the way, appreciate it. So Celeste wanted, I asked Celeste if she would do a little short meditation for us to close. So anybody else have anything they want to add? Well, yeah, except that I found this was helpful for me because I was no good at meditation, and as I said, least of these of my brethren still. But what I liked about what Eckhart Tolle said, he said, I think this came from here, and I couldn't find it in here this morning, but he said, like, pretend you're looking at a screen in a theater, and on top of the screen is sitting this great big cat
I love this.
with this long fluffy tail. And then you sit there, and then as you see a thought coming across that screen, that cat will just take his fluffy tail and just move it right along. And the other thing he said in this book that made sense to me is he said, okay, now I'm gonna tell you something, I'm gonna tell you how to do something, and then I want you to shut the book and try it. And that was, he said, pretend that you're a mouse, you're sitting at a mouse hole, and you're waiting for a thought to come out. And you as the mouse, you're gonna grab that thought. And so he said, now just think about that. You're the mouse, there's a mouse hole, you're looking for the thought. And so he said, now just shut the book and just do this. And then you come back to the page and he said, took a while for that thought to come out, didn't it? So when you're looking for it like that, when you're on the alert, who was it was saying, oh, Fancy Ray, I think you were saying about sometimes you're looking, you know, you're looking, you're
The observer.
Yeah, you're the observer, yeah, and that's what this mouse is, and that made an impression on me. And sometimes when I am trying to calm my mind, I just think, okay, I'm asking two things of me right now, and that is, don't plan anything and don't worry about anything. And if I can do those two things, I'm having a little bit of a moment. So go ahead, Celeste, and do what you want to do here.
Okay, this is just gonna be a quickie, just to kind of close us out. It is gonna be, I'm gonna bring you in, we're gonna experience some silence, but in that silence, I'm gonna speak every once in a while, so don't be startled. And like I said, just a real quick taste for us to end the day with. Everybody good?
Good.
All right, before you close your eyes, take a look at that candle. It's not lit. Everybody got an eyeball on it? Now close your eyes. And take a deep breath with me. And let that one out. Take another deep breath. Feel that air envelop your entire body. And in your mind's eye, see that candle. And now light it in your mind. A soft, glowing light. And right now that light is in your mind's eye. And let's just keep it there for a moment as we take another deep breath. And drop down into that space where we already know the truth. Where we already know that there's only one life, only one love, only one power. And that one life, that one love, that one power is that glowing light in your mind's eye. It's warm and it's beautiful. And as you drink in that light, feel it expanding out of your mind's eye, down your neck to your shoulders. Take a deep breath of that light into your chest. One more deep breath, and as you exhale, feel your body just melt into that chair. Allow it to do its job of supporting you. As we experience that beautiful light. It's warm. And its glow now has your whole body. And with each breath, it's that warmth, comfort, wholeness. Warmth.
Obviously, we've lost a few people.
The talent you have. Oh,
That's
my
okay,
goodness.
thank you. Thank you all for being here. I feel blessed by this circle.
I do too.
May you go in peace. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing all the stuff you shared.
And thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, my little run around stuff.
Thank you.
Near